Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you day 18 of the hashtag Art Journal Habit 2019 event going on all of November, art journaling every single day, and this is brought to you by Art Joy of Sharing, a Facebook art community where we offer lots of different challenges and things during the year, as well as opportunities for you to post your artwork, share with others, answer questions, ask questions, all those type of things. You can join that community by using the link below the video, and that, of course, is run together with Peg Robinson. We also have a live stream, Art Joy of Sharing live stream, which is supported by that group. So, all that being said, today's prompt is outline, and I follow on Pinterest a board about tattoos, and there is a tattoo trend going on called outline tattoos, and they're basically exactly what that is. This is an outline of an image, more like an illustration, done in black and gray. And the ones that I find most interesting as I'm looking at the pictures are the ones that appear to be drawn with a single line. And that's kind of an illustration technique that some people do and have been doing, where you try to make a whole picture just without ever lifting up your pencil. And if you have to, you loop back and draw a line through your illustration to get to the next section. And there was this beautiful one that I saw as I was scrolling through, of a sun and a moon, and the sun and the moon were almost kissing, and it reminded me of the sun and moon legends that pretty much every culture has. Sometimes the sun and moon are lovers and they're chasing each other around the sky trying to get together. Sometimes the moon is the mother of the sun, and there's all these different things that are myths and legends from different cultures, and each culture will tell you that they originated it, but really it's just a concept and an idea about how fascinating it is that if the sun and the moon were related in some way, how they could never touch, because the sun is up and then the moon is up and then the sun is up, with the exception of an eclipse. And then that's the time that they get to be together. So it's terribly romantic and interesting. And I thought about that, and I thought about outline tattoos, and I decided that the first thing I would do is try to figure out how this illustration was drawn, where the line starts, and if I could do it. It is not as easy as you would think. I started out and I started with my line and thought I knew the direction that it went. And then I decided maybe I was wrong. So I erased it. I didn't take that out because I want you guys to know that everyone makes mistakes. I am so far from perfect. I make so many mistakes. That's why I have an eraser. That's why I draw in pencil first before I draw in pen. If I really was committed to this, I should have just gotten out a pen and drawn it and said, the heck with results, how they look. But I am a coward, so I drew it in pencil first. And the first one I erased, I started over, and then I drew them both, and they're weird looking, but you can tell what it is, and that's what these outline tattoos that I've been looking at on Pinterest look like. At least the ones that you have a single line. This is what they look like, and they're primitive, but they convey with one simple outline something that you can recognize, that you can identify with. And there's another really cool one that I liked a lot, that is a bear, like kind of like a Kodiak bear, sort of roaring. I really like that one too. So this is an interesting trend. So the only time that I lifted my pencil was I had to click down the lead. So if you're watching closely, you'll see that I do lift my pencil a couple times as I'm drawing, but it's because I had to click down the lid on my mechanical pencil. The lead doesn't come out on its own. You have to click it. So then I went over my line drawings with a Faber-Castell brush marker. I wanted a thick black line, and that is India ink, so when it's dry, it's permanent. However, I started to erase before it was completely dry and kind of erased some of my ink, so I'm going to have to go back over that again. I do actually end up going over a lot of this stuff more than once to make it dark enough to stand up to this very bright background. This page is 5.5 by 8.5, and it is a gel print. It's cardstock gel printed on both sides with acrylic paint and a stencil. This one is a circle, a bunch of different circle stencil. I believe it's from Stencil Girl. I'll try to remember to link the products that I used in the description box below the video. I've been trying to do that, but with videos every day, I didn't get all of them done. So some of them just have a link to my Amazon, which you can use to find the things as well. Most of the links, that I use go to Amazon anyway. Although, of course, not Stencil Girl and things like that. So then I wrote the famous quote in the middle. Nobody really knows the origin of this quote, but it's on all kinds of things everywhere. Tell me the story about how the sun loved the moon so much she died every night to let him breathe. Sometimes it's the sun is a guy and the moon is a girl. Sometimes in the legends it flips back and forth. So I originally had it that the sun was a he and the moon was a she, but I figured they were gender fluid, and so I just switched it because when you look at my drawings, the moon looks more masculine, and that's probably because of this one line that's coming down over the jaw as I drew down the line to start making the moon shape, the crescent moon shape. It looks as though the throat under the chin is has a what do you call that? A voice box. You know how on men it sticks out and on women it doesn't. So I just switched the words. It's fine. It's not an attributed quote anyway, so nobody's going to sue me. So then once I had all that written on my page, I decided that I wanted it to be bright. I wanted the images to be bright, and I was planning on using alcohol ink. And alcohol ink is translucent. So I decided before I was putting the alcohol ink over the acrylic to use some white gesso and paint in the images, trying to avoid the lines because now I've drawn the lines on the sun twice. I've only drawn the lines, well, if you count the the pencil, I've drawn it 3 times, and this the one on the right with the moon is I've only drawn twice so far, but I'm going to go over it again. So, there's a lot of going over, because I want my lines to be really, really dark and black on this. The whole idea is the outline. That's what the prompt was. So I'm using a water brush and some white gesso and just painting in the images, making the background that's there from the gel print be kind of painted out and faded so that the images will be bright when I put the translucent alcohol ink over the top. That is my plan anyway. So this is where I'm switching the words from he and her to she and him. And you can't really even tell in the end. It pretty much just fades into the background. Of course, at the close-ups at the end, you can see some of my pencil marks and stuff that didn't get erased. That happens. But as an overall effect, when you're looking at it, you're not noticing those teeny tiny details as much. So then I got on my alcohol inks. I have 3 different kinds. I have Ranger alcohol inks. I have Pinata alcohol inks. And I also have the full set of Marabou inks. And the most amazing one is from the Marabou. It's called Rainbow, and I'm going to put it on later in the process, kind of towards the end. But when you look at the close-ups and when you look at me holding it up to the camera and switching it back and forth, there's this amazing shimmery mica type of look to it. I also use some, I have a few, just like maybe 4 or 6 of the glitter inks from Ranger that they came out with, I think, last year. I have a couple of those on there too. They have such interesting names like Intrigue and stuff like that. I wished I had all of them, but I don't. I've just picked up a few. I'd only be three, actually. Yeah, it is three because I picked up a yellow, a red, and a blue just to find out what they were like. It's, all these alcohol inks keep coming out, and there's new ones out. There's a couple different new ones out now that I wished I had, but I'm not, excuse me, I'm not going to buy them. I'm just not. Really, I'm not. Sure, I'm not. People come out with new cool stuff that I want, but it gets silly. How many alcohol inks do you really need? So I also have a few ink sprays, alcohol ink sprays, where I took 91% rubbing alcohol and I mixed re-inker, either from archival ink or stays on. I mixed those inks into alcohol and made a spray. So kind of like homemade alcohol sprays. And I sprayed a little. I started to spray a little bit. I got quite a overspray in the middle. So then I sprayed some rubbing alcohol over that to clean it up. And then this time I got smart and covered up the area I didn't want overspray on. And I'm trying to darken the side on the right to make it, because the moon lives in the night. So I wanted to make it darker on that side. This background is very bright oranges and yellows, and putting mixing blue over the top of a red is kind of, you're going to get greenish, weirdish colors. So it doesn't work as great as it does, but as it should. But it does work. I put some darker colors on there and then put blending solution on, and that thing I have in my hand, I think it was called a Blitzy. It's a thing that came out a long time ago where you can put a marker in it and then squeeze it and it turns it into kind of like a poor man's airbrush. And I've had it for a long time. I just am using it for air. I don't have a marker in it, but I'm using it to like kind of push the alcohol ink around. I need to get a can of compressed air, and you can do it a lot better with that. But I have that, so I just squeeze air over and blow the ink around a little bit. So then once everything is dry, I dry it a few times in between as I'm going, just to figure out what I've got, and then add some more ink over the top. Blow it some more with the little air puffer. I'm worried that I'm getting the other side messed up, but not too bad. It got some orange on it, which there was already orange on the page anyway, so it did change it a little bit, but that's fine. So then I add some splatters on the right for stars, and then I put all the alcohol inks away and move on to making sure everything is dry, and then just darkening up and adding more words. This page is a true art journal page. It has lots of words on it. Sometimes my pages have 0 words. And is that really a journal? In the true sense of journal, it would be something that you write things in. But this is a visual journal, which is a different thing where you make pictures to convey how you're feeling or your stories or ideas. So it's more of a visual journal. I don't write in mine very often. Some people write a lot. They write over most of the page and then make illustrations or collage or whatever to enhance the writing. And that's another way of art journaling. It just isn't my way of doing it. But if that's the way you do it, you're awesome. So to finish everything up, I get out my black and white fine tip Posca pens. These are dark because they are acrylic. They're super opaque. And so I can go over the words again and the lines and my outlines again to make them darker. If I had done that one first, I would have erased it with the alcohol. because the alcohol will definitely lift up that acrylic ink. I mean, not completely, not like it's completely erased, but it definitely would have changed the way it looked. I could have done it and then just written over the top of it again like I'm doing. I decide that one right hand side area, oh, that I had a little bit of a bloop, that's what I call it, when the Posca pen tip hits something hard on the page, something rough, and it just goes, and then it squirts out, and I needed to fix that, so I got out a different set of colored Posca pens to fix that little bloop. I decided to write Sun and Moon Legends on the side here where there was an empty spot just to make that balance. As I was making those single line outline drawings, I didn't center them very well, which is not surprising in the least. It happens all the time. I also had a couple of other places I wanted to touch up with my Posca pens. There was some splatter over on one side that I didn't like, and then a couple of white spaces I didn't like. So yeah, this is the page for day 18 outline. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment or question below. Subscribe. Turn on those notification bells. If you are not getting notified of a video every single day this month, then you don't have your notifications on, and you will probably miss something. It's a lot of content coming coming at you really fast. So yeah, that's about it. What else was I going to say? You can still join, even though it's day 18. You can still join. You can work backwards. You can use only some of the prompts. You can combine the prompts onto one page. You can do small things like ATCs or tags or something like that with the prompts. It's just a way to encourage you to do art every day. So here's where I wanted to show you that rainbow ink. Look at it. Isn't that super cool? I wish I had a gallon of that. I'd like to bathe in that actually. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.